Good afternoon, and welcome to the January 11th, 2023 Legal and Finance Committee meeting. Let's please start with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Armstrong,
Here.
Evans, Nordstrom, Solomon, Jones. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you so much. I'll welcome a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Solomon and a second by Mr. Nordstrom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving right along. Now's the time for general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting or on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, closing that. Moving along to our consent items 1 through 14. Mayor's items. We have some appointments and reappointments, and then we'll just move to the fire department, number 4. I will defer to Assistant City Attorney Jennifer Utter.
Thank you. As are documented with the agenda item summary, this agenda item 4 does have some updates. Hard copies of those updates have been provided to all council members there. And also the website has been updated, so the public record information is currently updated. With regards to the contract itself, this is a continuation of a relationship that the city has established with a co-responder company, Journey On, and they do provide street outreach services and alleviate calls for service. Also, as an attachment to the agenda item is the mayor's budget proposal, and he specifically spoke about some of the benefits and put some of the numbers to the savings to the not only the police department or not only the fire department but also the police department with these contracts. This is a continuation of that contract. We have had a good experience with them. The updated information reflects $360,000 total and the number of hours and commitments with each of those agreements. They also continue to use and have a separate agreement that involves use of city vans. With that, I would also advise that co-response coordinator Joseph Ryder is present if the committee does have any questions regarding the actual implementation, but he is the primary negotiator and person to look at the terms of the contract and then process them through our office. Thank you.
Mr. Ryder, thank you for being here. If you just want to say a few more remarks.
Say that again for me, sorry.
Thank you for being here. If you have any remarks, we're open and receptive to that.
Well, thanks for having us. That is a tough act to follow. Really, everything that specifically needs to be said was said. I could talk to you about some of the work that's getting done out there. I tend to get into specifics. I don't want to bring up specific stories and the whatnot. But there is a big effort in this city from the police department, fire department, other partners, mentioned specifically the Volunteers of America, Journey On, doing so much good for the people of this community. I'll end up talking about it all day, so.
Program. Mr. Solomon's in the queue.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all. Do you mind if I direct a question to, our fire department, but they're not here? Maybe Ms. Nutter would know, but do you know, I guess this is my big question. I think this has been a great program, obviously, between the City of Rapid City and Journey On in particular. What kind of savings the city is seeing as a result of not having to field some of these initial calls? Is it really getting to the heart of the 360,000, make sure that we're getting really great value for the city?
So in looking at the documentation and in the approved budget amount, these are the approved budget amounts, not only for item 4, but also for item 5. in response to your question in terms of the cost savings, there is an attachment to the website information, the public information, and that was the mayor's 2023 budget proposal. And one of those slides actually outlines the savings. It's approximately $500,000 for police and $500,000 for fire response. So I can quickly pull up those, but they are attached to your information. And it'll take me just a moment to get those exact numbers, but they're significant.
And I think you got to what I was asking. I saw the information. I did that for the benefit of the public to know, because sometimes they don't know that there's an attachment. So I wanted them to know that this $360,000 is a great value to Rapid City, because we're actually saving money while still not outsourcing all of the big responsibilities, obviously, that our police and fire department have. In this situation, the fire department will still take on the calls they need to for emergencies. But for transportation, some of these other needs, it sounds like it's been a great win all the way around. So
Slide 20 of 27 for the public record is where those cost savings were just for the last time period, for last year, were listed.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Mr. Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question for Ms. Utter or Mr. Rader. Real briefly, I think the only thing I've got is to emphasize the number of calls for service that the Journey On folks have been doing. The last word I got is that they've answered something like 10,000 calls for service. Could you elaborate just a little bit for us so the public is aware?
Yeah, I do. Glasses on, glasses off. It's come to that stage in my life.
Welcome to the golden age.
So for Journey On, last year, most current numbers are directly dispatched to 2,213, so 2,213 calls for service that came through our dispatch center that would have otherwise been handled by police or fire. That's not counting the proactive street outreach component. That entailed 9,166 calls. So we have a total of 11,379 calls for service. These folks are busy, and they're busy doing good work for people.
And the favorable part that I enjoy seeing the response on it is that they're starting to take it to the next level, meaning that we're starting to see some outreach and aftercare and mental health, and the list goes on. So just please share with them. I really appreciate all their work.
Be happy
Unless
to.
you have any other additional comments.
No, sir, I'm going to end on that note.
Yep, thank you. I yield.
Thank you very much. So I think we addressed 4 and 5.
5 is also, it's different amounts. It's the same slide 20 of 27 for that public information in terms of cost savings. The Volunteers of America is also a renewal, and that amount is up to $150,000 per year, and the internal adjustments have been made with the contract terms to reflect that updated amount and hours committed.
Mr. Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking of the Volunteers of America group, have you been working with them directly yet? The reason I'm asking is that they're looking at a strategic plan, and I was wondering if you had been involved with that strategic plan yet.
Yes, sir. So Volunteers of America participates in some of the heavy lifting
Yes.
of moving folks along, moving them forward on that grueling casework sort of aspect. They're a vital component to this, so outreach.
Indeed.
And then we've got to connect them to people and resources and long-term housing as well. So VOA does a lot of lifting for us in that regard.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. Okay, moving along to our finance departments for numbers 6 through 10. I will go to interim director Tracy Davis.
I'll actually go through 12.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
So item 6 is one individual for work comp purposes. Item 7 is a resolution for items that were payable at the end of 2022. We just didn't get a check issued until 2023, so we want to make sure that we bring those forward. Item 8 is a resolution on assessment. There are 3 properties listed on that for abatement of nuisances. Item 9 and 10, since I'm gonna go with November, since that's the most current one to talk about. The general fund cash balance at the end of November was $16.5 million in the general fund. So the same for 11 and 12. I'll go for the October sales tax report. And we are at 7.39% over the same period last year.
Mr. Nordstrom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for our interim director, Tracy Davis. On item number 8, is there, first of all, let me start off with saying that the group that's been doing what we call code enforcement, that does the, shall I say, the handling of all these issues, have been doing an outstanding job. They have been doing the tracking, picture taking, everything that goes along with it. So I want to say that that group has been doing an excellent job. And
they fall under community development under
yes,
Vicky.
they do, yes. So kudos to the group for me, Ms. Fisher, if you please. So I did go on a something of a ride-along with them at one location. So the primary question I've got for you, both of you, is that do they meet, any of these meet the area of a frequent flyer? Meaning that we've had to escalate the administrative fees on it because I see these names pop up frequently. And I just wondered if they were meet that category of being a frequent flyer, because I do not like to see the city being a property manager for these folks.
Madam Chair, so I don't know specific to the 3 that are on the agenda today, but we do have several properties that need to be mitigated over and over and over again. So we've created a way to track those in our office so that we're not waiting on the public to let us know when they've gotten out of hand, that we in turn are taking the lead and going out and inspecting the sites, putting the property owner on notice, giving them the opportunity to abate the property themselves. If that fails, then we do hire the work done. There is an administrative fee associated with processing that payment. If they make that payment in a timely manner, then they don't get the additional fee that's applicable by finance when it comes to you as a part of the abatement.
Very good. Just to follow up, if I may, on the sales tax reports that I'm seeing, I'm just amazed by the percentage that we're seeing month after month. And I wish I could ask you the crystal ball question, but hopefully that we'll be able to maintain that. But as had been mentioned before, is stand by. We've got inflation issue coming up here as well. So if you care to address that,
Sure,
or
we're
try
just-
to.
I don't know that I can address it too much, but we can certainly be optimistic what we're seeing, but we have to be cautious about what we're seeing as well and what we know is coming for the future.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll yield.
Mr. Solomon?
Thank you, and I agree, there's 2 sides of a ledger. So as much as we're excited about the income, we also know inflation and expenses also are rising for the city. Just always have to keep that in mind. Madam Chair, may I direct a question to Interim Director Tracy Davis? Tracy, this should be pretty easy. When do we expect to see the November and December cash balance as well as sales tax reports?
So December cash balance report should be hopefully available about the 1st of February. The sales tax will be into late February.
Okay. That's going to be important because that's when we see from the council what undesignated cash we have. That's when we make some pretty big decisions if we have any surplus, how we direct that, or bringing it into the next year, we're going to have some decisions to make. So we're going to be looking at the springtime, having a good conversation about that. Okay, thank you. I yield.
Right. Moving on to item 13, we'll go to Director Beegler.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This is a resolution of intent to enter into a lease agreement for the concessionaire operation up at Dinosaur Park. And this is a continuation, actually renewal of an existing lease agreement with the same folks. They do a tremendous job up there, and we are happy to have them, and certainly would love to have them back again.
Nordstrom would like the floor.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Mr. Bigler, is this an annual renewal or is it multiple year renewal?
This is multiple year. This agreement is a 5-year agreement, as was the previous one, and it's under the same terms and conditions as the previous agreement.
Very good, and they're doing a very good job up there. Thank you. I yield.
Director Beegler, if you would indulge me, how is that ADA project going?
It is moving along. I know they had a rough month this last month, but they are up and continuing to work on that. That'll be under construction all of this next season. We hope to have limited access for folks to get up there this next year, but they'll be going strong here as soon as the weather cooperates.
September's in my mind. Is that where we're looking?
I believe most of it is to be completed by then, yes, yes.
Appreciate that update. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. And we'll move to our city attorney, Mr. Director Landine, for number 14.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is just the standard insurance renewal. I believe it was about a 7% increase, which not unexpected. They actually saw some positives where some of the lines of coverage actually have started to go down again, which was something we hadn't seen for a while. So, but overall, things like cyber and stuff I think are going up. So it all balances out.
We appreciate that. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'd welcome a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. A motion for consent items 1 through 14 from Mr. Solomon. Is that a second from Mr. Nordstrom? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Real quick, I know Mr. Solomon needs to leave. Do we want to do some committee information sharing? You, Mr. Nordstrom?
Just real quickly, spending a lot of time with the Youth City Council right now, and there is 8 applicants that are looking at making a trip to DC, and they're also looking at seeing if they can get into the congressional offices as well to meet with the not only the staff but the senators and their representative as well. And then I'll be accompanying them and looking forward to that opportunity to see what is in store for us in Rapid City with all of the things that are taking place with the National League. And yeah, if there's any questions, I'll stand by for that. But if I can, let me just leave it there.
Okay.
There's more to come.
Exciting for them, and more importantly, exciting for Rapid City. Mr. Evans, is there anything that you want to share from your committee assignments?
Not really. I will mention that I talked to the property owners at the corner of West Chicago and the new Deadwood Avenue interchange. A huge hazard there with this concrete wall that's 5-some feet tall. You can't see the oncoming traffic. And I became aware of it when we were trying to clean out a storage unit there and attempting to cross that numerous times. And it was always thinking, my God, how could this get designed this way? We mentioned the Mayor Ritchie checked in on some things and found out that they're already addressing that problem and lowering the wall. Is that correct, Mr. Nordstrom? And so that should be taken care of. I would still like to find out the status of the DOT development of the bridge crossing at Anamosa Street on I-190. Hopefully that's not moving forward without our participation, since that's important as a gateway to the city. But I asked Mr. Beegler earlier, he said nothing about that. So I think we need to follow through and check on that. Public Works, that's right. Anyhow, thank you.
Great. And real quickly, our library board meeting got postponed to, I think, the 18th, but they handed out their strategic plan, which is finalized. Our Human Relations Commission met yesterday, just planning for the year ahead. And for the Rapid City Airport, I asked the governance people to reach out individually to council members about upcoming things that are going on out there. Other than that, motion to adjourn by Solomon, second by Mr. Nordstrom. All in favor? Okay, we'll see you at the council meeting on Tuesday due to the MLK Day holiday on Monday. Thank you.